Hello and welcome to Radio 1. This is a Science Hour. I'm Spencer Spencer. I'm here as always with Jake Mickles. And we're welcoming a very special guest from Northern Carolina. The university is Pickle, Professor P. Pickle.
Welcome to the studio.
Yes, thanks for inviting me, guys. I've obviously got a very busy schedule, but I managed to make it here to talk to you guys and answer your questions.
You obviously are a professor in the study of apes and other animals.
Yes.
Tell us your story behind that.
Well, it all began when at a very young age. It started off with a weird fascination, as other kids describe it.
Not weird at all.
Not weird now. Look how I've turned out.
Your father.
I've worked for so many companies: NASA, RSPCA, Saltcott, everywhere across the world.
Yes. So your father, he was right into apes. I mean, he drilled the study of apes into you from 5 years old, I heard.
My father, God rest his soul, dedicated his life to it, but he simply didn't have the technology to advance. But it all started at a very young age. I was on a school trip in a forest in northern Brazil.
Yeah.
And I was with all the other kids with our guide, and I got lost, and I was terrified. And then I came across this massive ape, baldy ape.
Majestic ape.
Yes, majestic it turned out, but at first the fear struck me, terrified. And then
this bald ape, I mean...
But you obviously had a fascination with apes at this time, so...
Yes, you must have been fascinated.
I had a mixture of fascination and fear running through me, but I froze. And this ape, it put its arms out, and I thought it was going to attack, but it grabbed me, and it ran through the forest, and it caught.
How fast was this ape? You must have been petrified. This
I
bald
was,
ape.
but as you say, my fascination just kept my adrenaline up, and it brought me back, saved my life. And from then on,
bald apes are very, very calm.
Very rare breed. Very calm, loving, affectionate creatures compared to other aggressive apes.
Hairy apes.
The hairy apes are the most aggressive type, of course. But yes, that's where it all started. Then I came out of there, studied some more, ended up going to a university course, and started my first work with NASA at the age of 19.
Did you not attend university with the bald ape that saved your life?
I didn't.
You stayed in the
You brought it in as a specimen.
That's a story that's been spiraled out of control, actually.
Did he help you with your studies?
He did. I brought him in more of a research... I don't like to call it subject. I call them research associates, my apes.
Yes. So, how did you study between the hairy ape and the hairless ape, and how did you choose which one would be most suitable for
Surely you
space?
done study on both of them.
It was through general IQ tests, fitness tests. Sometimes we would tie a child to a wall and tie the bald ape to another wall and see if the bald ape tried to attack.
Yes, and the bald ape would never ever attack, isn't that true?
Never.
They love children.
Love them.
So, I mean, some people have hired them as babysitters.
A few children nearly died. Of course, it's mannequin children, it's not real children.
Yes. The hairy apes did murder, well, not murder, but do what would be murder to mannequin children.
Manslaughter.
Yes. Awful.
I mean...
Yes.
So...
You had a list of questions?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
What is the most peculiar ape you've ever seen, and how... Tell us the story behind it.
Well, it's what's scientifically known as the Pickle ape, and it is actually not able to walk.
Okay, so, I've heard a story, this is just in here from a text message, that someone's seen a video on YouTube of the NASA testing of the apes, and you used to set the hairy apes on fire.
Yes.
And send them through a pool of acid.
Very early doors, and I finished all that. It was to do with the disciplining of them, and some scientists took it very extreme and started dousing the apes in fuel and setting them on fire.
Is it true that some of the apes are just really small men covered in hair? Is that true, or is that a rumour that's been made up and blown out of proportion?
It's been blown out of proportion massively. What it was is we were testing the mating of both apes, and we would shave women.
And you would shave women?
Shave women?
Yeah,
you crazy people.
Not against their will, of course. And we would put them in with the bald ape and see if the bald ape would try to mate. And then we would get a baldy man, cover him in hair, put him in with the hairy ape, and see if he went for it.
So that's it's been.
Several small men were murdered.
I've heard that there's some cruelty going about with the bald apes. I've heard that there's a pornography site based on bald apes.
We did a study showing that over 140 bald apes are raped in America, and that is down to their loving nature. They will accept anything that's given to them, and we've actually seen horrific videos of bald apes deep-throating, taking part in anal, group sex, fetishes.
That's disgusting.
I mean,
is it true that, obviously you know Brazil well, is it true that in some parts of Brazil the apes actually rule and they control the humans?
I've heard that.
Yes, it's kind of a Planet of Apes thing over there.
Yes.
Yes, but they've got a very well-worked civilization.
Are they nimble creatures?
Yes, very nimble.
The humans get on with them, but they are the
Yes,
rulers.
they're
worship
fair
them.
leaders. More fair leaders than the likes of Barack Obama
Yeah, yes.
and
Yes.
Tony Blasington.
Yes. I've heard that you guys sent a colony of apes into Mars and they're currently flying around the universe.
Yes, the apes.
Yes, that's obvious.
as you
Yes.
all know, the Mars rover was built by apes.
Yes.
Bald apes, to be specific, of course. And
These
that's
bald
been
apes
up
are
there
fascinating.
over
They are.
the last couple of decades, just going around Mars. And the first videos, which are completely classified by NASA, is just those apes killing each other. They went crazy in the Mars
Wow.
atmosphere.
Of course, you work with apes and you love apes, but you also work with other animals. Tell us a little bit about them.
Excuse me, can I ask you one more story
Yeah,
about the
One
bored
little
ape?
last bit about the apes.
Okay, the bored ape. I heard that the Sky Network, I heard that the feeder for all those channels is actually a bored ape tied up to a satellite. Is that true? And apparently the signals bounce more effectively off a bored ape's shiny head, because the sun shines so brightly off the ape's shiny head that it burns a crease into its head, and the signals bounce off the body ape's head and bounce back into our TV. Is that true?
Quite simply, no. Of course not. Think about it. You can get an ape to
You
survive
have
all
to
these
think
years
about
up in
these
space. Bald apes have put into research through mental activity, physical activity, and sexual activity. We would never put one up in space and stick it to a
There's a
satellite.
picture of it though.
They do work in
Photoshopped.
space, though. They do work.
They
in
do
space.
work in space.
I've
there's
heard-
thousands of them up there.
They're constructing a bridge from the Earth
Yes,
to
and
Mars to Pluto.
Quite interestingly, we've quite got a lot of apes who are learning research, and we've got a cave in North Carolina where we keep these apes, and they work on several scientific features in physics, chemistry,
Did
biology.
King Kong really exist?
Quite possibly.
Uh,
He might have killed the
My
dinosaurs.
friend here, he wanted to know.
Yes, about the other animals.
Yes, no, they are, of course.
Tell us about the other animals you study.
Well, I've built a lot of hybrid animals.
Wow.
Mixtures
Wow.
between...
You sound like a mad scientist, Pickle.
Yes, of
Yes.
course. Yes, of course, that's the perception. But, yeah, butterflies and camels, dogs and reindeers.
I heard.
all kinds of
What's the
things.
science behind it? Does apes have a lot to do with this? Do they manufacture these?
We use the minds of the apes, because they're so similar to us, to see what we're going to be able to do to
My
mix
friend,
these animals.
my friend here told me an interesting fact about apes, that actually they have 32 fingers in each hand.
Yes, that's an old story. What it is, over the years, they did have the gene to grow 32 fingers, but because they've eaten such a vast amount of bananas, they simply can't do it anymore. It's kind of like a banana overdose.
Yes, because the bananas kind of substitute the fingers and replace them.
Yes.
So we actually get some bald apes which are born with bananas for fingers.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes.
It's
So
madness,
the
yeah.
other animals. I heard you once got an owl and tried to bed it.
Is that true?
It's a touchy subject. Yes, of course.
You tried to marry an owl.
1986, when I was married to a beautiful young
The
woman.
prestigious ape. Was it not the prestigious
No,
ape
I was
Camilla?
never
House.
married to an ape. Never married to an ape. That's
They're only for
Horse
sexual use and knowledge.
Scientific
only
use.
sexual use, if I may say so myself. But yes, the owl. I fell in love with the owl, and married it. And
Why-
It died 2 days later.
That's gruesome.
What?
That is
How
gruesome.
did it die?
It just exploded.
Was this during intercourse?
No, it was in a lab. It just
I heard
lit
a s-
fire and exploded.
I heard
Did you pour petrol in its mouth?
No, we didn't do that to the owls. Not
Pro-
the owls.
Professor P. Pickle, I've heard a sick story about some of the scientists back in the ape era, that some scientists who were actually unable to walk up the stairs used bored apes. They kept them in a cage under the stairs, and the apes would carry them to the top of the stairs and sit them down. They would cook for their owners, they would clean, they would drive to the shops, and people would see these bored apes in shops and say, why?
Yes, we call that the slavery era, where
Yes.
apes were used for slavery. It was just the meaning of the time. It's the
Discrimination.
same with black people. They were used as slaves at one point.
Yes.
Apes were used at one point. I've even heard stories about snails and spiders being used as slaves.
That's disgusting.
Yes.
It's
horrible.
it's wonderful how the apes have overcome this, and they actually went on and invented the slipper. Is this?
But yes,
It's not the common slipper, the bareback slipper with just the flip-flop style.
oh my god.
The apes actually invented this because
Yes.
you
They
would
also,
know, listeners,
I
that
bet you didn't know this.
What?
An appliance in your house you use every day was invented by the apes.
Is it the oven?
Not the oven.
The light?
the toaster.
No.
What?
The television.
Oh yes.
We
I can
covered.
imagine.
It was covered up in the when it was created. The television that a white man did it because white man is superior, of course. But it was actually a female bald ape.
I've heard a story about the new type of ape that's out. It is called the red ape, the red-back ape. It's got a red hair
Yes.
and no hair anywhere else.
Commonly known as the rape ape
Yes.
because it has such a massive aggressive sexual behaviour.
I mean, nature to the
Wow.
red ape is so unbelievably bad compared to the bald ape
Yes.
and the hairy ape.
A very bad ape, I would have to describe.
What about the rare breeded two-penised ape? Tell me a little bit about that.
Very good sexually.
I could imagine, yes.
Yes, well, let's go back to the study of apes. How did you test on those apes? I mean,
It sounds
it's
cruel.
wonderful.
A lot of the time,
In NASA.
we used sexual influence to lure the apes in.
What do you mean?
Well, an ape works better after a blowjob. And if we were to give, say, we're studying starts at 9:30, we would give the ape a blowjob at 9 in the morning.
I heard their
And they would-
semen melts human face.
Yes, at boiling point. If you were to get an ape to ejaculate into a pan, bring it to the boil, pour it on your baby's face.
It would die. It would burn.
There would be
it
no
would-
baby's face left.
It would corrode your baby.
I also heard that an ape's toes is so contagious, if you touch it, you turn into a small disabled monkey. Is that a rumour? Or?
No, it's been known to happen, but it's only with certain humans. And while we're on the case of animal ejaculants, we did use giraffe ejaculant to make a certain food product that you may like.
Chips.
No, not chips.
Cheese and onion crisps.
How did you know? Have you read about this before?
he has. He
Yes.
talked about it.
I'm descended from apes and I make them myself.
Yes.
I see.
Hi-
So
Spencer's-
you worked with the...
I worked with Graham, the ape.
Spencer's father was a half hairy, half bald ape, and he died in the World War too.
Yes,
He was a
yeah.
Jew.
Not a lot of people know how many apes died fighting for our country.
Yes, it's amazing.
apart from there was evil Nazi apes. They were
Yes.
Cruel.
hairy,
They were
hairy
cruel.
apes.
Red, hairy apes, murderers.
That's where Hitler got his idea for the moustache. He shaved an ape and just left the moustache.
Yes, he used apes as models for his
Yes.
moustache. He would just stand there and shave them all day until he got
And
that little thing right.
Sometimes he would just look at them in the mirror and start crying.
He's known to rape apes. He went for a massive spell of that.
What
raping.
everyone will notice this Christmas when they go into London, they will see bald apes hanging from the lampposts dead.